Good morning. Welcome to Workforce Skills with John Morse. Another beautiful Monday morning out here in Phoenix, Arizona. Glad you guys can join me. This will drop on Thursday. You'll hear it then. Hopefully the weather's still running clean and good for us. So we had a little bit of rain last week. It affected a couple jobs, but enjoyed a great Friday. Had a birthday, turned 56. My partner Greg took me out to play golf that day. So kind of made it a 3-day weekend, even though I was in the office for a couple hours that morning. It worked out quite well. Went into the weekend, had a great weekend. But what I want to talk about today is partnerships. And let's talk about partnerships with a significant other and how it affects your job. How are you going to let it affect your work situation? You know, let's talk about a couple of things that have happened here recently. And I'm going to use some prime examples within my own company. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about what we dealt with and how it affected their attitude at work, how it affected their mentality, their mindset, and how do we change that? So let's talk about one person. Let's just call this person Derek. He works in the estimating department. So I'm going to use some names here. Doesn't mean they're real or not, but we'll use Derek for an example. So Derek's in a situation where he's been in the estimating department for a while. He's been struggling a little bit. Trying to make heads and tails of it. And it's funny when we have these situations because everybody that goes into the next level, the next position, we always look at them and think, okay, we pick them for a reason. We put them in these positions because we believe they can do what they're doing and they're going to be successful at it with the right guidance, with the right training. So putting this person in this position, put them in an estimating department, their first job is to start inputting all the leads coming in. Now, over a period of so many months, they start to do the takeoffs. They start to do the bidding process. They learn the procedures, the process of how we do things. In that process, it can be a struggle sometimes because it's new. It's something you've never done before. And what happens? You're going home every week. You're talking about your day with your significant other, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, wife, whatever it is, your parents. And all of a sudden, these people that know you the best start giving you advice. They start giving you input on these different situations, but yet they know nothing about the business. So that you're having a problem at work, you take it home, you talk to them, they start feeding into whatever you're dealing with. The next day you're coming back to work, and now all of a sudden your attitude from the day before has changed. Because it might be somebody at home telling you to do something differently, telling you to try something, telling you to do something that has nothing to do with the job, and you're feeding into this because you're frustrated and you feel like nothing's working. But if you just stick with it, because I can't begin to tell you how many times we've seen people in these situations that if they're right on the verge of making a difference, becoming successful, figuring it out, and some of these people quit. They give up. Too easy, too quick. They just don't give the process time to figure it out. And the other thing we see is now all of a sudden there's somebody at home that's talking in their ear. They're telling them all these different things, and you should do this. You're better than this. You could go out and get a different job, and now you're coming to work. You're frustrated. You're upset. How is that going to affect your job at work? How is it affecting everybody else around you? And why do we let everybody around us affect our work situation, our work life, when they know nothing about what we're doing on a day-to-day basis? They're not hearing the grind. They don't see it. But yet they've got an opinion on everything. The interesting thing with this person, we'll call him Derek. It's a fictitious name in the estimating department. This gentleman had somebody talking to him, getting up in his ear, and then he comes to work, has a bad attitude. Comes to work, we have a long conversation. He gets through it. He's now putting his mind to what he needs to do. We got him back on track, and he is killing it. He's landing every other job he touches practically. He is becoming so successful. He's coming to work energetic. I mean, he's on cloud 9. And I made him a promise that if he could make a certain amount of sales for the month of February, I would cut him a bonus check for a certain amount. So the plan now is for him to go home, and when he gets that bonus check, because I guarantee you he's getting that bonus check at the end of the month at the rate he's going. He's going to go home and he's going to make his significant other hold that check, take a picture, and every time something comes up with work, he's going to show that picture. Look at this. I can do this. I'm a beast. I'm going to make it happen. I want to be successful. That's what's going through his mind right now. You can't stop this guy. He had just a taste, just a sliver of success. And now he's unstoppable. He's killing it back there. Now it's becoming a competition thing. What can I land this week? How much more can I land this week than I did last week? But we have a tendency to listen to everybody around us and their opinions without them even knowing what we're going through, and they feed into it. Now, that's the emotional side. We have to step back and we have to look at it and we have to think logically. We can't let our emotions get the best of us. We can't let our emotions make the decisions for us. When we start making emotional decisions, we are going to make the wrong decision every single time. Now, I'm not saying don't listen to the people around you. What I'm saying is you've got to take it just a piece at a time. You don't want to take everything they're giving you. Filter through it. I love my wife and she knows that, but she also knows that I listen to everything she says. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it. Doesn't mean I'm going to take her advice on everything that I do at work or in the office. When we come to work and she works with me, this is my house. She knows that. When I go home, guess whose house that is? That's her house. I take out the trash. I do what I'm told. We live a comfortable life. I'm very happy with the relationship that we have. But we understand where we stand with each other. She understands that she's going to give me her opinion. She understands that I don't have to agree with it all the time. When it comes to work decisions, I'm going to do what I think is best for the business and the people around me. Because some of her decisions, some of her opinions become emotional. She knows that. We've talked about it. And I filter through them and I use certain things. And sometimes the stuff she says to me that I don't agree with gets me on a track of thinking about other things. How could I deal with this situation differently just by something she mentioned to me or said to me? So there's a huge benefit from that. But I can't let what she's telling me get me to become emotional. I can't make a bad decision because of something she said. I can't let an argument at home or a situation at home or something that didn't even happen at work come to the workplace and affect what I'm going to do or say here. I have to make the right decisions, and sometimes we're making the best decision we can with the information we have at that moment. We might not want to make that decision, but it's the decision that has to be made at that moment. Now, as time progresses, things change within a business. You're going to change your way of thinking. You're going to change your train of thought because of now the situation's different. You've learned from previous mistakes. You've learned from previous success stories of what you've accomplished. Now you're going to make a different opinion, different decision on what's happening with what's at hand at that moment. So not every situation is going to be the same. Every situation is going to be different. You progress, you move forward with what's right there at that moment, at that time, and you make your best decision. We hope it's the right decision, but sometimes, even myself, I've made bad decisions. Well, I've learned from every mistake that I've made. I've learned from everything that has created failures and success. And I'm going to tell you, I love the failures 10 times more than the success. Because when I learn from those failures and those mistakes, the success is even better. But the failure is what gets me to a point to where I appreciate the success more. If you never failed, you'd never appreciate the success because we understand the struggles and what it takes to get to that point of success. So as you go through these situations, I've got another person in the office. Hypothetically, let's say this person's name is Stephanie and she's working in the office. It's a fictitious name for somebody that she's working in the office. She's in a project manager position, very successful, but dealing with personal life, personal situations, there's a struggle with the hours and what the extra time that it takes to put into this position, this job. Knowing that there's extra hours, there's more time involved, it's been a struggle. It's created problems in the personal life. So unfortunately, it means something has to change. What are we going to change? What are we going to do? Because Stephanie loves working here. She doesn't want to go anywhere else. She wants to stay at this company. She feels successful. She sees the success of the company and wants to be a major part of it and be an asset to it. So how do we change things? How do we fix that? So we look at different positions in the company and we make a transition. We've transitioned so she can still be successful. She can still have a job, be part of what she's doing, It's in a different position, but she's still interacting with the project manager position, which she loves more than anything. So in knowing that, we've created a situation for her where she's doing both jobs. She's not 100% in either or, but she's able to learn from everything that she's doing. And her home life is changing. She's in a better place. It's working out for her. But instead of just saying, I quit, I give up, and walk out the door and make an emotional decision, she came to us and sat down with us and said, hey, here's what I'm dealing with. Here's what's happening. I don't want to leave this company. I love it here. I want to stay here, but here's what I'm dealing with in my personal life. So we put our heads together and we found a fix. We found a way to make it work. We found a way so she can still work here, still be successful, still be a part of the job, the position that she loves the most. And she's thriving in this. And it's amazing watching the changes in the people around her and the people she works with and how appreciative they are of what she's doing and the changes that she's making in the office. Everybody loves being around her. She's never negative. There's nothing wrong. Everything's always upbeat, positive with her. She always has the right attitude, the right mentality. That beast mode is there every single day, and it never changes. She loves what she's doing. But what are you going to do the next time you're in a situation and you're having to make a decision at work and it becomes emotional? And it's because somebody outside the business told you something. You know, you guys don't know Josh, but he's behind the cameras. He's the one making me look good on this podcast and sound great for you guys. But he was telling me a story the other day of a situation with a client that he dealt with many, many years ago. And this person, he was building a website, and this person was listening to everybody that knew nothing about her business and nothing about website building or coding or any of that. But yet this person would listen to a realtor. She would listen to a fitness coach. She would listen to somebody at the hardware store, wouldn't even pay attention to what her business had anything to do with, knew nothing about coding or building a website, but yet they had an opinion about everything. Everybody out there is going to have an opinion. Everybody's going to tell you something that they think is better for you. They don't know what's best for you. You have to figure it out for yourself. And you have to take the advice of people that are in the industry, in the business that you're in. It's okay to listen to everybody, but you have to filter through the BS that they're feeding you because it's not all good information. It's interesting how the majority of society makes emotional decisions. When you base your decisions, what you're going to do every day at work on an emotional situation, you will fail. You have to change that mindset. Not to bring in sci-fi or Star Trek into it, but think about Spock. Everything with Spock was logical on Star Trek. There was no emotion involved in it. But every episode that he was in, and whoever wrote this was a phenomenal writer, to write the episode to where he would start to deal with his emotions and how things just fell apart for him. Because when everything was logical and there was no emotions involved, he made the right decision every time. But the second he started to let the human side of himself, the emotional side of himself get involved, he questioned every decision he was making. Everything became chaotic for him. So if we could start to think more like Spock, think more logical, try to make our decisions to where the emotions aren't involved. When it comes to money, to math, to finances, numbers know no emotion. Numbers are completely logical. So when you're out there making these decisions, there has to be zero emotion involved with it. How many people go to their boss and they ask for a raise? And how many times does that conversation get emotional? How many times are you at home and your wife, your significant other, somebody's telling you need to make more money, we need to pay these bills, and now all of a sudden you're coming to work and saying, I need more money, boss, I need a raise. Well, why? What gives you the right to deserve that raise? Some companies have a certain time frame. Some companies have, okay, you come here once a year on this date, you get a raise. It's not the same with every business. And when you come to work and you ask your boss, your supervisor for a raise based on personal decisions you made, emotional decisions because of conversations you had at home, it's not always going to work out the way you want to. Now, there are times You will get that raise. It's going to work. You're going to make more money. But the question I have for you is, did you deserve it? What did you do to earn that raise? Is it just because you get a 3% every year for inflation or living costs? There are companies out there that do that. But what have you proven? What have you given from the last raise that you got? If it's been a year, you have to step back and you have to look at yourself and say, what have I done better over the last year? What have I gained? Where have I grown from this? What's going to be different going into the new year with this raise from the last year? You have to show something of a progress, but you can't walk in there and get emotional and your boss doesn't give you the raise and tells you got to work on something, or, okay, here's what I expect from you. I'll give you the raise, but here's my expectations. Show me this first and I'll give you the raise. But that doesn't mean you get the raise and you stop. You still progress. You still continue with the changes that you've made. But you can't get emotional when you get the answer, no, you're not ready for it. I had a car salesman call me a couple weeks ago, and I bought a truck from him many years ago, but I didn't like his approach. Every time I called him or I went on the car lot and I told him what I needed, what I wanted, he showed me everything the opposite of what I asked for. Well, I kind of blew him off over the last couple of years, and since then, I think I bought about 20 trucks. And he called me up, and I instead of blowing him off, I finally, I just got to nip this in the bud. I'm going to answer the phone. And answered the phone, talked to him. We discussed, he's like, hey, we got these great deals on these trucks, and are you in the mood to buy any trucks? And I go, no. And I go, I got to be honest with you. I bought about 20 trucks since I last bought that last truck from you. And he said, well, is it something I did? Is there something I should do differently? And I said, well, I want to give you some constructive criticism. And I don't want you to take this the wrong way. But the bottom line is you tried to push me in everything I didn't want. You didn't listen to the customer. You didn't listen to what I was saying. And he kind of lost his cool and he blamed it on everything else and got upset with me and ended up hanging up on me. He could not take the constructive criticism. So what did he lose by this? What he lost was a possible customer. He lost me a long time ago, but could he have salvaged it to where he could have made some money out of the deal and said, you know what, John, you're right. What can I do to change? You told me I'm going to make a difference. Do me a favor. When you're ready to buy that next vehicle, would you give me an opportunity? But instead he blew up. He lost his cool, and now I will never speak to him again or buy a vehicle from him. But the current guy that I'm buying vehicles from, every single time I've gone to him, I haven't bought one for quite some time now, but I guarantee you the next time I need to buy a vehicle, I'm going to that person. I'm going to the guy that I tell him what I need, I tell him what I'm looking at, and he delivers exactly what I'm asking for. That's taking care of the customer. That's taking the emotion completely out of it. I know what I want. I know what I need to buy. The numbers look good. Let's do it. There's no emotion involved. That's how it should be. But when you're given constructive criticism, whether it's coming to your boss and asking for a raise and he says, you know what, here's what you need to do to get that raise, instead of losing your cool, screw this, I'm going somewhere else. I'm not going to work here anymore. They don't appreciate me. The fact that they told you exactly what you needed to do to earn that raise, that shows they appreciate you. That shows that they care about you and they want you to be successful. They're telling you what you need to do to make more money. That's success right there. So I would much rather appreciate someone that's going to tell me what I need to fix, what I need to do differently, that knows me, than to go home and ask somebody. I'm not going to, it's funny. My mom watches this podcast every week. She's my biggest fan. I love her. But I'm not going to go home and call my mom and tell her something I'm dealing with in business and ask her to give me advice on something that she doesn't know anything about. Now, if it comes to my taxes or finances or investing, my mom's really good at that. I will listen to her and take her advice on that. But if I give her a call and I say, hey, I'm dealing with this situation at work, I'm having failure on this paint product and I need to do this, she's not the right person to ask. So when you need to talk about getting a raise and who to talk to, I would highly recommend talking to people around you. Maybe it's a coworker. Maybe it's somebody else in the business that could be a superintendent that would Know the person that's giving you the raise. Know the person that you need to ask for. Say, hey, I'm thinking about asking for a raise. What's your recommendation? Get the right advice from the right people before you make a decision. Don't make a poor decision. You want to focus on who's going to benefit you and who's going to help you. If we listen to everybody, it's like politicians. Everybody's got an opinion about everything. Who's got the right answer? We don't know. We hope we vote for the right person. We hope we pick the right person that's going to make the changes for us. It's the same with the people around us. Everybody's going to have an opinion. Make sure you get the right opinion from the right person. I recommend to our superintendents and the people that work for us, if you're a superintendent in our company, I want you to make friends with other superintendents from other companies. Start becoming friends with them. Get to know them on their level. What do they deal with? They're going to understand what you're dealing with a lot better than somebody below you or somebody possibly from another position, another company total. You're an estimator. Make friends with other estimators with other companies. They're dealing with the same stuff you're dealing with. If you're a painter, become friends with painters from other companies. Join a painting group. There's a thing on Facebook, the Painters Chat Room. I would highly recommend it to anybody out there that's in the painting industry. It's a great thing to get advice from other painters. But do filter through all the crap. When you're online, people are going to say stuff. And everybody's got an opinion about everything. Filter through it. But there's a lot of good advice on there. You can get a lot of good information from talking to other people within your industry or at your level. If you're a project manager, become friends with project managers in other companies, whether it's a general contractor, whether it's a framing company, a flooring company. This is how you collaborate and you get better at what you're doing. It's how you can become more successful with the people around you. You will find making these friends in other industries at your level will change how you perceive your own personal job, and you will become better within the company you're with just by collaborating with these other people and listening to them. I got a buddy, Carlo, who I used to golf with all the time. He owns an HVAC company. We would go out once a week and play golf. I got more from him by him just being a business owner, talking about business, than I would have if I would have hung around other painting contractor business owners. I utilized that to benefit me, and he did the same. I learned a lot from him. That's not to say that I don't hang around other painting contractors, but just hanging around him, it was a huge benefit to me just talking about business, talking about what we do on a day-to-day basis of how we're dealing with the struggles within the business. So if you're a business owner out there, start making friends with other business owners. Start to understand their business. Start to talk about the problems you have. You'll learn about their problems. You would be amazed at how similar some of these problems are, how similar the situations are with everybody out there that's at your same level. And if you're new at something, say you're just starting a job and you're a brand new person. Over the weekend, and I got to pass this on, but I got a request for employment over the weekend through our website. And it's someone that has no experience, but they're willing to learn. They want a new job. They're going to do whatever it takes. They're telling me they got the right mindset. I replied back, send me a resume. Let me look at this a little bit more. As a new person, what I would recommend going to any industry is start to hang around other people that are new too. Learn the struggles and always become friends with the person above you in position. Learn from them. Watch what they're doing. Ask them questions. How do you get to that position? What do you do to get there? Can you teach me what you did to be successful? We can learn from everybody around us, but learn from the ones that have been there, that have done it, that are a part of it. Ignore all the chaos. Ignore all the conversations around you that have nothing to do with your business, have nothing to do with anything that surrounds you. How can you listen to somebody that's never done what you've done, but they're going to have an opinion? Listen to the opinions that matter and filter through all the rhetoric. Filter through all the nagging, everything else that happens out there. You don't have to listen to everybody that's talking to you. Well, let me take that back. You're going to listen to them, but you don't have to take the advice of everybody around you. Take the advice that's going to make a difference. Take the advice that's going to matter for you. I hope that makes sense. The same goes with those out there that own a company. If you're a business and you're starting out in your garage, which I did, and I started out with a couple guys working for me and it grew from there. And I took advice and I looked up to other people that were bigger than me. They had more successful companies. They were at a higher dollar amount than what I was doing. The first year I was in business, I thought I killed it. Boy, as years went on, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But now we're at a level to where I've surpassed even the people that gave me advice back when I was just starting out. So how do I grow my business? How am I going to be more successful? I'm not going to take the advice from someone that's got a small company. If you're a $1 million company and you're trying to get to $5 million, you're not going to listen to the guy that's out there only doing $500,000 a year. What can he teach you to get past where you're at? And if you're at 5 million and you're trying to get to 8 to 10 million, you can't listen to the people below that. You have to go after the people that are bigger than you. You have to take the experience, the advice from other people that have already been there and already done it. Think about who you're taking advice from. I'm not going to take advice, even as an employee. You're not going to take advice from somebody that's never moved up in position. Hey, how do I get to the next position? Oh, they're going to be negative. They never wanted it, didn't want anything about it. They look at these guys that, oh, they just suck up. They're moving up in position because they're kissing ass or moving. They're doing whatever it takes to move up. That doesn't mean you take their opinion, their advice. You stay the hell away from it. It's the same with the business owners. As a business owner, I'm not going to take advice from someone that can barely pay his guys. Their paychecks are always behind. I'm not going to listen to the advice of somebody that is in debt, doesn't pay their bills. I'm going to listen to the guy that's successful. I'm going to listen to the person that's out there doing it and they're in the trenches and they're making it happen. I want to talk to business owners in the painting industry that are bigger than me. The largest painting contractor in the United States last year did, I think, $350 million in sales. That's who I want advice from. That's where I want to grow to. And if you're a business owner, I would ask yourself in your industry, do you know who's the largest around you? If you want to grow, if you want to get bigger, start doing the research, start finding out. Find out who's bigger than you. Find out who the most successful business is out there and try to go after that. Learn from them. There is so much competition out there. There was a time in my business I thought, you know what? I want to crush all the competition. I'm going to take all the paint jobs out there. I'm going to take work from everybody. Boy, was I wrong. There is so much work out there. You don't have to worry about that because there's so many businesses out there that go in business that fail, that they're losing work. You're going to pick up what they can't handle. You're going to pick up where they dropped. We're always hanging on a thread with certain GCs we're bidding. We'll bid with certain GCs and not land a job, but we keep bidding with them because all of a sudden, guess what? Their painter fell off. They were not a good business owner. They didn't know what they're doing. And we're stepping in and we're taking that work. We're stepping in it and we're taking over the industry. So start doing your research on what you're doing. It's funny. I've been in business for so many years and I didn't even think about this till last summer. I think it was in July when something happened. We were struggling as a business. I went to a seminar and I actually sat there and I Googled it and I looked up who the largest paint contractor was. Never even thought about it. I couldn't believe, looking back at this, that I've been in business for as long as I have and never even considered who's the largest in the United States. That's what I wanted to figure out. I want to know what my competition is. I got to know where I'm shooting for. Now I have a goal. Now I know what I'm shooting for. That's the goal, to continue to grow, to continue to get bigger every single day. Find your path, get on it, and push forward. And ignore the chaos around you. There's a storm around you, and you have to become the storm, and you've got to fight through it and push through it. Today is Monday, and it is Momentum Monday for me. We're pushing, we're grinding. That's our goal. Ignore the chaos around you, ignore the storm, you become the storm. But take the advice, take the opinions that matter, and get the feelings and emotions out of it. Once again, guys, I want to thank you for joining me. Stay hungry.